I just want to share what I learned from this event. It was a great event and it was free. Got to meet a lot of good people, ask a lot of good questions. Oh yeah, and then I want to show y'all my X too. So if you don't follow me at X, JRussTV, and this is me at the event. 455s in it. I literally got, you know, liquid cooled AMD. This is one of the gentlemen at AMD that worked. I met, asked some questions about the Xilinx acquisition. You know, the past quarter, said it was great. Just CPUs, all that type of stuff. So just validated my thesis, honestly. And it was great to be able to talk with someone who can like nerd out and answer questions because they literally work there. That is CPU, liquid cooled OCP-Y. It's the new OCP format, co-developed with us, Microsoft and Meta.
I'm waiting. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm
450. Got to speak at some people at NVIDIA. Jensen definitely highlighted the AI stack, the cake, the 5-layer cake, and I like it because you know, it breaks it down for a lot of different people. So here's a photo, like a little pamphlet they gave us at the event. You know, how AI is built and why it matters. Look inside the 5 layers of AI to understand this financial infrastructure. So just this in my Substack, you know, you got your application layer, your model layer, your infrastructure layer, your chips, and your energy. You know, if you read my Substack, link in the bio below, I did a whole research report on the whole layer and how I'm positioning myself for it as well. But yeah, went to the NVIDIA station and got some good games, some good info. This is the panel that the notes I showed you all earlier for the Agentic AI, the guy from Perplexity, you know, Web AI. That's all those things. Cool. Just seeing them in person. Like I was showing you, this is how they had this set up. So you had rooms and you had like open floor plans like this. You know, got to give y'all a visual. Got to give y'all visuals. And then we have the meta room where the different people came and gave their use cases of how Meta's open source model is helping them in real life, you know, making real life changes. This was cool. Got to ask questions here. That NVIDIA just showing the inside of some of the GPUs.
There are 2 Blackwell GPUs and Gray CPU.
This is a Tesla station they have. So just to end it out, great opportunity to attend AI Plus Expo. I walked away with a lot of good, valuable notes, insights, and confirmation around where this industry is headed. I'll be putting here a YouTube recap, but overall, my thesis has not changed. It's actually grown stronger. Being able to hear directly from leaders across the sectors, ask questions, and connecting the dots in real time, it was a great experience. Biggest themes that stood out: compute constraint, agentic AI, inference, supply chain bottlenecks, and AI policies as governments bigger than hype, you know. I'm continuing to study the space, stay close to trends, and invest what I believe are generational companies shaping the next decade. That's why I have it tied back into my investment thesis. You know, as you see right here, this supports AMD, CPUs and accelerators for inference and edge server workloads, NVIDIA, edge chips and AI hardware software, NBIS, compute infrastructure demand, Palantir, operational AI flows, and Meta, open source models powering downstream adoption. So this is real life examples for me to be able to help me put all the pieces together, because I do a lot of research online. So going in person, asking these questions, it just solidifies my thesis, and my thesis has grown stronger after this event. What's up, everybody on YouTube? Welcome back to JRussTV. If you're new to my channel, hit that like, comment, subscribe button. We cover all things business, investing, and self-improvement content. If you return to the channel, appreciate you tuning back in. Got another banger for y'all. Hit that like, hit that comment, hit that subscribe, bro. Good game. All good game in there. So as you see by the title, I went to Expo, AI Expo in DC. If you're not familiar, I live in the DMV area. So I always like going to events out in the city. We're actually in the nation's capital. So it's like, it's a lot of stuff in my backyard that, you know, I come across all the time. This one specifically was an AI conference. And it was a very cool AI conference. A gentleman told me that someone high up in Google made it happen, I think, and he just had a lot of connects. Like it was senior directors, it was program managers, a lot of different companies from Meta, Booz Allen, AMD, NVIDIA. You had your Department of Energy was there. Some companies that work with Palantir, some people from Perplexity. It was just a lot of good companies. I know I'm missing some. They had some interactive areas too, where you could play the game. You could play with drones. Fly with drones. It was like they had like a drone race too. So it was pretty cool. This is some of the booklets I got. So I've been reading these, covering it, taking some notes, reading some good information in here from the event. But yeah, so we get there. It's at the Walter E. Convention Center, one of the biggest convention centers in the DMV area. And your SneakerCon goes there. I've been there a couple of times for SneakerCon for other defense areas. So they had different booths that you can go to. They had different speaking areas. You had different like conference rooms you can go into. They had stuff going on all the time, like for an hour or 15 minutes throughout the whole day. They had different people speaking in different rooms, so you could really just go through the schedule and find your vibe, what you were most interested in. So I did just that. No cap. Theme number 1 was AI is becoming practical, not just theoretical. So this is one of the biggest themes, the biggest takeaways I got from the event. It just wasn't being discussed as a future solution. It was right now. The time is now. Companies and governments are using it for actual operational problems. So I went to a room with Meta. The first room I went to was a room hosted by Meta. So they had a few different people at the event. I'm going to show you all. This is the first room I went to. A panel discussion showcasing how U.S. partners are using Meta open source AI models to advance technology for wheelchair users, sustainable construction, national security, and emergency medical triage. Yeah. So first one, the first lady from Amrise. That is a construction concrete company. So I'm going to share my screen. Hope y'all remember that. This is Amrise. That's a company, the partner of choice for builders of North America. We offer a broad range of advanced branded solutions from foundation to rooftop. So they do construction. So these are some of the projects they've done: airports, international bridges, Seattle Spear, Elevate commercial roofing, residential properties, repair and refurbish projects, hotels. So they do a lot of good stuff, a lot of cool stuff. So essentially, they just came as, a supporter of Meta's models, which is Llama, open source AI model. So, you got your ChatGPT, you got your Gemini, you got your Claude. Meta has their own Llama. So she was just giving praise to the Llama because they've been using it. They've been using their model to improve materials for data centers and manufacturing. Another person from Booz Allen, he came and he just talked about how they've been using Meta's LLMs to help astronauts with manuals, procedures, and mission support. Help astronauts with manuals, procedures, and mission support. Like I said, with Amrise, they were using AI to improve concrete materials for data centers and manufacturing. And then also AI being applied to emergency medical triage and getting help to soldiers during the golden hour. So this is just some things a lot of these different companies were sharing with us. So the Mansour Khan, he was a program manager, not him, but Michael Sellers, he's from Booz Allen. Laura McGorman, she worked at Meta. And you had an Amar Zukalwala. He was really smart. He was really smart. He gave a lot of good insight. He was more so had a technical background when it came to AI. The shift I noticed is that AI is moving from cool demos to mission critical workflows. The question is no longer what can AI do? It's becoming how do we use AI to make existing tools, processes, and decisions better. So not more so of replacing, jobs, but at the same time, also it's being used as a tool to help people do their job better. Theme number 2, inference and edge are becoming huge. This directly ties in with my AMD, NBIS, and NVIDIA thesis. A lot of discussion was around deploying AI closer to where decisions happen, not always sending everything back to a large centralized data center. So this was definitely key, and I got game from this from the people in Meta. They just spoke a lot when they were describing some of the technical background and some of the work they were doing. Or for example, the last example I gave with AI being applied to emergency medical triage and helping soldiers during the golden hour. They were just explaining how they're out in the field, so they need compute that is at the edge. So this is where your AMD and your NVIDIA come in hand, or mainly your CPUs. So the question I asked was, what type of compute are you using? I hear you all speaking a lot of AI at the edge. AI at the edge needed to be close, not have access to data centers, all those type of things. And they said CPUs, and they also mentioned inference. So this was definitely just backing up what my thesis has been on AI. For my notes, real-time understanding of situations using AI inference, AI at the edge of the network, metal models can be embedded at the edge, NVIDIA nano chip at the edge, domain-specific tactical AI for national security and healthcare. So this emphasized how a lot of these LLMs, some of them are generalized, but there's going to be a lot of cases where you see them being really domain specific. So like people in space, one example of the guy said he was using it in space to help the astronauts with the manuals, or you're on the ground looking to get help to your soldiers, those are specific, whether that's healthcare and national security. Everyone talks about training models, but the real explosion may be inference, using AI in real time. Whether it's soldiers, astronauts, healthcare, robotics, or enterprise workflows, the demand is shifting toward fast, local, useful AI. And this is why I'm bullish on my AMD position. Now, if you all are new to the channel, I do go over my stock portfolio, my public stock portfolio publicly. So I do own some NBIS, some ZETA, some AMD, some NVIDIA. So this is AI infrastructure plays. And AMD, Jeff, recently, one of my biggest conviction plays, boomed up. 96% year to date, up 112% the past year. Past 3 months, because they specialize in CPUs, and they have some of the best CPUs taking share from Intel. So that's why I have it tied back into my investment thesis. As you see right here, this supports AMD, CPUs and accelerators for inference and edge server workloads, NVIDIA, edge chips and AI hardware software, NBIS, compute infrastructure demand, Palantir, operational AI flows, and Meta, open source models powering downstream adoption. So this is real life examples for me to be able to help me put all the pieces together, because I do a lot of research online. So going in person, asking these questions, it just solidifies my thesis, and my thesis has grown stronger after this event, for sure. All right, cool. So theme number 3 was agentic AI is still early, but it's coming fast. Enterprise wasn't real agents yet. Most companies are not fully autonomous agents yet. They're still figuring out what is actually deployable, reliable, and valuable. So after I went to the Meta room and asked my questions, got good game, mainly on how they were using Meta's large language models to help their individual use cases for their business, like some of the examples I provided. And then I asked some questions about compute constraints and inference. And, those are the main topics I heard. Compute constraint, inference, AI at the edge when at the Meta part. Then I went upstairs and went to another session that had more so on the agentic AI inflection point that happened earlier this year in 2026. You had someone from University of Virginia, VP of Global Affairs at Perplexity. You had founder and CEO of Web AI. You had Votai, president and senior advisor for government. So she was like the spokesperson asking the questions and things like that. But this was a very good session. Like, AI agents are really here, guys. Like, AI agents are really here. And the inflection point we had with, the Claude bots and the Claude agents really took things to the next level. And that's what's really causing this CPU demand increase that we're now seeing. So here's some of my notes. Is the difference between a team and an agent, a single agent. Agents are built for specific tasks. Enterprise cares about outputs and ROI. So they're just saying like they're not going to just, the SaaS apocalypse vibe code, or just use anybody's code. Because they're looking for outputs and ROI. So they're really honing in on how purposeful is the software that they're using for agents, or like a ServiceNow, or even like a ZETA, the Athena platform. What's the output? What's the ROI? They're starting to understand that they're paying all this money for this software, that they only use 1, 2, 3 things for the whole package. And then like, we could be saving so much money, and how much money are we really making off of this? That's why I'm bullish ZETA. AI systems are failing at scale when output quality is not reliable. Yeah, AI agents are here, but they're not always reliable. They do mess up a lot. The quality isn't always there. They do a lot of hallucination risks, requires engineering, traceability, and control. So you still have to be hands-on when it comes to these agents. That's what I'm saying, the AI apocalypse. It's not going to happen overnight. It will happen to some companies, but not overnight. You know what I mean? And so a human still has to be in process and making sure it's good quality stuff, So it was good just seeing that. And then fine tuning and reinforcement learning are critical. There's a lot of fine tuning you have to do, and reinforcement learning, training, I think they provided an example in here too. It might not be this one, but agentic AI is not fully mature yet, but is clearly where the market is going. The issue is not whether agents will matter. It is how to make them reliable, traceable, and valuable, for enterprises and government uses. Agents are not magic. They are workflows. And the companies that can turn AI agents to reliable business or mission workflows will win. Main theme number 4, domain-specific AI will matter more than generic AI. Examples, healthcare AI, national security AI, emergency response AI, construction. The future is not just one giant model answering every question. The future is likely specialized AI systems trained or fine-tuned for every specific environment. Like I was mentioning to you all earlier, there's going to be a lot of specific regions, industries, AI. This is the talking point I wanted to show you all too, right here, that bachelor's to master's notes. One of the gentlemen gave an example. Someone described fine-tuning like taking a model that graduated with a bachelor's degree and training it to become a master's level expert in a specific field. That stood out to me because it explains why generic AI is only the beginning. So this is overall just going to require more compute, which goes back to my AMD, my NVIDIA, my NBIS, Thesis. AI is working in so many different industries, and it's not just generic as people think. Next, I went to the semiconductor supply chain session. So it's now a strategic priority. This is one of the biggest investment relevant panels. Advancing U.S. tech leadership in the AI era, the power of the allied semiconductor ecosystem. They had people from TSMC, they had people from SK Hynix, they had people from security policy, government affairs. So a lot of good game in this room. This is a photo here. This is the panel right here. Mike, Mr. Mike, Dan, Michael, SK Hynix, Tech Insight. Crucially, the dialogue will emphasize the necessity of seamless regulatory alignment and constructive policy harmonization across the allied ecosystem to reduce administrative friction, incentivize transnational collaboration, and build resilient supply chains. A lot of government and policy was covered in here too, because it's important that, they were saying the government makes the right laws and everyone's in contact and working together to be able to cater and shape these laws that doesn't hinder the growth of AI, and that our adversaries win when it comes to AI, because we are in the league right now. TSMC emphasized foundry leadership and collaboration They're looking to, open another foundry system, which is the basis of what creates the semiconductor and these chips. SK Hynix discuss memory and high broadband memory and collaboration across the stack. Semiconductor companies can no longer work in isolated silos. AI demand is 10 times and no one can meet it. Policy needs to understand the interconnection of the ecosystem. Export controls matter, but foreign partners are critical. 30% of the most advanced chips being made in the US is a big improvement. Building fabs for NVIDIA Blackwell chips show the intensity and demand. The semiconductor supply chain is no longer just a business issue. It's a national security, economic security, and AI leadership issue. This goes back into my investment thesis of AMD, NVIDIA, data center infrastructure, all of these main points. So overall, these companies were just saying that they're looking to collaborate a lot more because this isn't just an isolated problem. It's a U.S. security problem, and we need to figure out how we can, improve our supply chains essentially and work together, collaboration. Main theme number 6, AI policy and governance will shape winners. This is important because many investors ignore the policy layer. Yeah, the policy layer is very, very sneaky. Something you really got to think about. And I've been thinking about it a lot more. And I'm actually going to be doing a paper. I'm getting my MBA right now. And I'm taking organizational behavior. So I'm actually going to write a paper, my research paper, something to do with like the policy AI. But that'll be for another video. Some things from my notes, just export controls. I work in GovTech defense, so I'm familiar with export control laws and ITAR. So I get it. It's very, very serious stuff, Allied semiconductor ecosystem, regulatory alignment, policy harmonization, building resilient supply chains, governance challenge, responsible deployment. AI is moving so fast that policy is now part of the investment thesis. The companies that can operate across government, enterprise, national security, and regulated sectors may have a major advantage. But that's very true. That's very true because if the government shuts something down or puts a law in place that hinders your company or your safe, you have a lot of data and they put data laws out that you can't do certain things, that affects your company. And something you really got to think about. You give you a wrap up of how this, all ties back to the money. This is why we're going out. We're doing in the field research, guys. I do online, but I'm doing it in the field. I've literally got to ask people from these companies directly questions. AI is increasing demand for CPU, GPUs, edge compute, and rack scale systems. My notes around inference, edge deployment, semiconductor collaboration supports AMD long-term thesis. NBIS now a top 2, my second biggest position now in the portfolio. Yeah, we scaled that up. I scaled NBIS up quick, and it's definitely had great earnings. I'm doing a video on that, and they're doing a lot of great things, guys. A lot of good things. Look into the company. But compute constraint and demand exceeding supply directly supports the AI infrastructure thesis. ZETA, as enterprise look for AI systems that improve workflows and decision-making. ZETA fits the AI application layer thesis, especially if Athena becomes embedded in marketing workflows. Palantir, government, national security, healthcare, the use case can go anywhere. See, the use cases, good game from that session. Hood, not directly tied to AI infrastructure, but bull market, that goes into that. Meta, open source AI ecosystem showed up directly on your notes. Their models are being used in real world applications, including mission support and edge use cases. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Y'all got some good notes from the from this. I'm going to continue reading this. So I might making a couple more videos, but yeah, leave us some, let me know in the comments what y'all think. What are y'all hearing out in different environments, online research? But just want to share what I learned from this event. It was a great event and it was free. Got to meet a lot of good people, ask a lot of good questions. Take advantage of it. I'm showing y'all what I'm doing. Not financial advice. I'm just trying to show y'all what I do. And at this point, from the day I dropped my research paper, April 30th, that was literally the March 30th. That was literally the bottom. If you pick 2 or 3 of those companies, bought during that time, did a little research, put a little bread in there, you should be up 20 to 50% by now. We just had a crazy run this past month. That's what I'm saying. Y'all can't keep loafing on this stuff. Y'all got to get on it. Don't wait, push it off to next week, or I'm gonna wait. Do it now. Do your research, man. AI is moving very fast. It's gonna be the time to take advantage of it is gonna go by quick. Still got time, still early, but don't loaf on it. Don't be one of those people that was like, man, I wish I could have bought Bitcoin back in 08 or 10. I wish I could have invested in Apple 5 years ago when had the time is now. The time is now. This is when those 10,000 in this company could have been $500,000 by now. You know, you always see it all the time. $10,000 in Meta 5 years ago, you could have grossed over $100,000. Same thing is going to be done right now. And I'm showing y'all the journey. JRush TV, we out.